Hey, Corey.
Morning, Ron.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing good. Doing good. What were we talking about earlier? Something about coming up with creative ideas and the way we do things nowadays?
And we came up with unconventional thinking.
Unconventional thinking.
We used unconventional thinking to come up with a topic to talk about unconventional thinking.
Well, I think that's a great idea. So, you know, when I got involved with total quality management, and we needed creative thinking because our old conventional thinking wasn't keeping us being competitive in the world. And I'm talking about the high-tech industry. We got, lethargic, we were resting our laurels, the way we've done everything, the way we've always done it, worked before. And all of a sudden we had worldwide competition. And we couldn't figure out, my goodness, how do we do things differently? And we didn't want to because we thought, well, what are they doing? How can they do it cheaper, faster? Smaller, cheaper, faster. That's what it was all about. So we did a lot of research. And the first thing we did is we benchmarked. There were people that went to Japan. The automobile industry went to Japan and said, where did this car Honda come from? This car Toyota, where did they come from? Why is everybody buying them? You know? And we've set the standard for years. We never had a problem. People bought, typically it was Ford or Chevy. I don't know about you growing up, but we either had a Ford or a Chevy. And every once in a while might be a Chrysler product, and all of a sudden these cars, these new cars that were taken over, and they weren't built in Detroit. So I know our teams went over there to Japan and toured Honda, and they would say, how long does it take you on that one operation to install the seats or something like that? And the Japanese would say, 22 minutes and 14 seconds. And the guy from Detroit was, that takes us 22 days. Oh, no problem. I'm exaggerating.
Right, yeah.
22 hours, not 22 minutes. So they discovered that the old industrial model wasn't working the way it could. And they came back home and you know what they did? And this was a new thing for Detroit. They went and asked their workers for better ideas.
Yeah, that's always a powerful one that nobody, well, I don't want to say nobody, a lot of people don't use.
That don't use.
They don't ask the experts who are doing the work.
Right. The other model I might have talked to you about before is when I was working in New Hampshire, high-tech company there. We went to a lot of our vendors, and one of our best vendors ever, and you're going to laugh, was Boise Cascade and their stationary products. Now, you say, you're running a high-tech company, what's the big deal? Well, the reason it was a big deal to us is we saw how somehow their process, we never failed to have a stationary product that we needed. We always had, in those days, yellow tablets were still important, and all those tools. And we said, what are they doing so well that they never miss a date to have the stock in, the product in, put away? They never missed an order. Everything was perfect. How did they do that? So the procurement manager and I, we went down to their place in Massachusetts, walked into their building, and the first thing we noticed was they had a little sign out there for us that said, welcome Bruce Greenland and Ronald Rissy from Unitrode. And we said, wow, that's us. I mean, we're being treated, there was no other sign in the lobby, and we walked up to a reception desk that wasn't this high, it was this high.
Right.
Now, you getting what I'm saying here?
Mm-hmm.
there was that face-to-face friendly, well, you must be Bruce and you must be Ron. Yes. Oh, yes, we're expecting you. Everything about this place was a well-oiled machine, from the culture to the friendliness to the processes to the system. Then we went behind the veil. There wasn't a wizard there. There were workers there. We walked into their place, and they're just got huge warehouse full of all, your Post-it notes and whatever. And there was conveyor belts over here. Oh, first of all, we walked into the cafeteria that had a wall of instructions and work assignments and work ideas, and it was just a plethora of ideas, and it was just an awesome thing. So that blew us away, that all that communication was going on in their cafeteria in a very friendly user format. We walked on the floor and we went around these bins. There were bins. There was also pallets, but warehouse bins with maybe a picture of what does the customer say when he wants a packet of these kind of notepads. So in other words, you could have a packet of a dozen or one. So they would have a picture of that, and I'd say, where do you get all these ideas? I said, well, that's what our floor supervisor does. Oh, he goes around putting these ideas in? He said, no. His whole job all day long is to go talk to the employees and get their ideas about, they found out that a customer was ordering it this way, and so the employee was supposed to tell the supervisor. They came around, oh, by the way, this big Sanders Corporation this is how they expect the packet to look like. So they would have pictures in each bin of what customers wanted. I mean, it was amazing how this company communicated with their people and asked their idea. Well, it wasn't a suggestion box.
It was engagement.
It was engagement. And you went over to this conveyor belt. I said, what's this? These are all the stuff coming up for the orders that the customers are ordered. And each employee had a responsibility for their orders. When they got done with their order, they helped their other co-workers on filling their orders. The cooperation, the teamwork, the culture, everything about that place screamed quality.
I don't even know if I'd say it screamed quality, because I think quality is a little bit different expectation. Right? Quality is things not done wrong.
Right. Well, this was the broader sense when I say total quality, which included management and engagement, everything. I'm coming from that mindset. But you're right. I mean, just quality per se, inspection, and making sure things don't go wrong. But this was a total. Say culture or whatever, every aspect was accounted for, well thought out, and inclusive. That's the big buzzword today, inclusive. Everybody was included, making sure that the customer got what they wanted on time. And we would go back, we had a vendor quality college, we called it, and we invited all our other major vendors in. And actually, Boise Cascade got up and gave a presentation one day on how they did that. We used them as our teachers.
Nice.
So, that's thinking out of the box. Those people taught me how to think out of the box. Taught me about making sure everybody's ideas were included. And then my total quality background and training said, I can go out there to the floor and do the same thing. So, we would have these meetings, and they got various names, quality meeting, team meetings, problem-solving teams, whatever you want to call them. And we get a group of, whatever the project was, we get a group together. It could be an engineer and 5 assemblers. Or whoever had some hands-on responsibility in making this product better or whatever. and we would sit them in a room. And it was a fun process. I taught them how to brainstorm. First of all, how to define a problem, how to brainstorm, and we did it all on flip charts in those days. And I still like flip charts because we had them on the wall. We'd cover the whole
Still
wall.
use them.
Is that? You know me, I'm
powerful.
old school. Is that still?
Oh yeah. I mean, unless you're so technologically advanced, you have a room full of touchscreen monitors everywhere where you can write on everything. But
like you see in the CSI shows on TV where they got the yeah. I would love to have had those, but the flip charts were great. We left them in the room. You know that even if the meeting was over and you had an idea, you could go back in there and add to a flip chart. So in other words, we became an idea factory. And the whole idea was that and then we would have the assemblers walk in, and at the executive staff meeting every Monday morning, we could have one of these teams report out to, the president and his vice presidents what they were doing on this particular issue. And that even trained them, the executives, on, maybe we should be brainstorming. Wow! We were actually teaching them by example how you can come up with creative ideas, that unconventional thinking. That assembler came up with some crazy color coding scheme that nobody would ever, an engineer wouldn't have thought about it, producing this product so it stays in, within certain Six Sigma variances.
Yep.
So it's that unconventional thinking, getting away from the conventional thinking. That way Detroit was able to cut their times down to from hours into minutes. We were able to cut assembly times in half, mostly from the people that were doing the job.
So anybody who's talked to me on a regular basis has heard me say, just shy of silly and stupid.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
That's where you find ideas that are different, and that's where you make change. Just shy of silly and stupid.
One of the rules of brainstorming, by the way, is you can't laugh at somebody's idea.
Yeah, because you want those ideas, because that idea may provoke a thought in somebody else that is the solution.
Exactly.
And now, if somebody's intentionally kind of being silly with it, but as long as you still think of it in terms of, what if it's done this way instead?
Tweak it a little
it's
bit.
like, this is still good. I had a conversation with a business owner recently who had two problems that were compounding each other. And the problem was there was this huge pile of leads, a huge pile, more than they've had to deal with before, maybe. I don't know, but they had a huge number of leads, knowing that they had to reach out and talk to these leads to try to do conversions. They didn't like getting on the phone.
There's a problem right there.
So we've got a problem.
Yeah.
We've got a whole lot of work that needs to be done, and we don't have any way to do the work. So we sat and we talked, and I remembered a technique that I use in other industries, and I suggested this technique, and immediately started paying results. Immediately, meetings were being scheduled. People were asking questions. Engagement was occurring.
Okay.
And instead of having to individually call all of these leads, because emailing is not going to get you anywhere very fast when you want to continue to create that emotional connection. So, have you ever heard of ringless voicemail? Have you
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
have you ever got a voicemail and your phone didn't ring?
Yeah.
So that's a technology called ringless voicemail. So you create a script, and it sounds like they missed your call.
Oh, you dog, you. Oh.
But they didn't miss your call because
Yeah.
you didn't actually call them. And so you create this script that says, hey, I'm sorry, I wasn't able to connect with you. And then you just do a brief intro and record your voicemail and send it to everybody.
Wow. Wow, that's powerful.
So one conversation with everybody.
Yeah.
And people were calling and apologizing for missing the call.
Oh, that's wrong.
It's like, sorry, I missed your call. It's okay. It's okay. Let's.
That's very clever.
You expressed interest. Let's talk about this. And
Wow.
You want to talk about leveraging technology?
Yeah.
Somebody somewhere said, "Hey, how silly would it be if we just left voicemails on people's phones?" And now it's an entire technique.
Yeah.
To do that, especially if you're not comfortable on the phone because you're worried about rejection.
I like it.
Or you have so many that you have to do,
Yeah.
there's just no way to get them all done. It's like, well, how can we solve these problems? Well,
Yeah.
This is one of the ways to do that. Somebody somewhere thought, hey, how silly would it be if we just left voicemails?
But you know, that value of, at least this conversation, you telling me that story, to me is he was lucky to have you in the room because you knew about that. See, the value of, you know, like in a company where you get 8 people together, you know, you got a Corey in there, Corey's going to come up with that idea. But let's say you didn't know that idea. So I that's why I like when we get, usually the size of a brainstorming group is like 6, 7, the ideal size.
Mm-hmm.
So at least you can get at least maybe one Corey in there that's got that solution that you really want. I mean, that was brilliant in my mind. So, you know, getting a few people in a room with various backgrounds can come up with that kind of a solution.
The more diverse the group,
yeah,
the more powerful the group.
yeah,
So we have a masterminds group, and that's the whole purpose.
yeah, exactly.
Is to get a group of diverse people together in a room to talk about problems together and come up with solutions. And every time we throw a solution out there, we get some wonderful, wonderful, actionable ideas.
Yeah,
And you know, you want to talk about seeing radical change within a business rapidly. Be in a group of people whose sole purpose is to help you
right.
solve those problems. Oh, it's powerful.
Yeah,
Love masterminds groups.
yeah. So you can use that same concept anywhere.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and so companies quite a while ago where it was all top down. And then you saw the period you come in when they had the upside down organization chart.
Yeah, yeah. Then they went flat, and then yeah.
Yeah, but you get the customers up here, and then down here at the bottom of that pyramid are the executives. You know, and I knew a lot of executives that, wait a minute, you know, I got here because I know something. But I think a lot of times, you got the company started, you got it going, but things might have moved on, and we need to hear from other people.
Now we can have an entire conversation on the philosophy behind what an org chart really is.
Yes.
And an org chart is not necessarily an expression via either positive or negative of power. It's ultimately it's a chart to show responsibility.
Yeah, right. Right.
What are you responsible for, and who are you responsible for?
Yeah, and how does it fit in to all the other responsibilities?
Yeah, but power has nothing to do with an org chart, except for people want to see, hey, look, I'm at the top of the chain.
Right. I'm a vice president, and you're not.
So,
There are some of those people.
Oh, absolutely there are. And if you had we're on a sidebar now. If you had that org chart and it said that the vice president's role was to support the individuals underneath him versus to be ultimately responsible for everything that happens in blah, right? The vice president's job is to support those under his charge. And each one of them is responsible for the people under them. Mm-hmm. Now, those people are responsible for specific things, and the farther down that chain, the narrower and narrower, or the more focused that responsibility becomes.
Exactly.
But it's all about how you look at it.
Sure is.
But silly and stupid.
I like that. Just shy of
silly and stupid. We were talking about this just a little bit earlier. Was the pet rock?
Yeah.
I don't even know if you can call that shy of silly and stupid. It would have been silly and stupid until people started buying it, and then it was no longer silly and stupid.
No.
And so it's just ideas like that create that just create that are